did go and get some water, so I'll use
You're
that.
not looking for this, are you?
That's why I'm okay, Steph, I found it, yeah. Now, I mean, again, a lot of the people who do, people who recommend lime, they talk about the plaster being pretty stiff, and as we had it for the pointing really, but I think you would see straight away that that would be virtually impossible on your body if you tried to apply plaster that stiff. All the plasterers I've worked with, and as I've plastered more myself, I tend to use it really wet. And so it's the opposite of what we've been talking about really. And you don't tend to put too much water in the wall. You need to get some water in the wall, but you have a lot of the water in the plaster, which is the opposite of what you want when you're building, or you want the water in the bricks or the. But in this case, it works, and I find the shrinkage is often less when you're using it very wet than when you're using it fairly stiff. Now, I think part of the reason for that is if you're using it stiff, you're really having to force it on there, and you're putting an awful lot of tension into that. Whereas when you're using it wet like this, you're stroking it onto the wall. Really, it's not the same thing. So yeah, get a bit out. This could even be wetter, and I've seen plaster. But we'll go with this, and you need to just fatten it up a bit like that. You can see how it changes from that to that, and then fine. Now this I dubbed that out before lunch, but it's actually. So I'm breaking the rules already because I want to try and get this wall done today if we can. So I've dubbed that out a bit, but essentially this is where we're at. So people can come down here, but you're looking to go from your right-handed, this sort of direction, and really just put it on the wall. Like this was then worked over afterwards. You don't want to play with in the same way as Mark hopefully said to you about the pointing. If you've got a steel tool and a lime like this, you can see all the hair in it as well, I hope, but you don't want to be playing with it and working up. Alright, go on. How was that? Was that nicely close, Jen? But
It's great.
you can see I'm not forcing that on, I'm just stroking it up. And that took me a long time to learn myself really, because we had to pretty much had to teach ourselves lime plastering. There were probably 2 lime plastering companies in the whole of Yorkshire, it would seem. And equally, one of the other things you'd say is that even those lime plasterers for whom that is their trade, are really plastering in a Victorian tradition. Most of the plastering we do is actually 17th and 18th century in this area, and it's not the same. There are different, like those thick finish coats, for instance. It's very hard to get even a lime plasterer, certainly in this area that I know, to do that because they want to use like really fine finish coats, and they want, you know what I mean? And so similarly with keying in between, we don't key between coats because none of this, certainly not between mud and lime, but neither in these sort of transitional plasters do we see any keying between coats.
In this part of the country?
In this part of the country, yeah. So, but this is, so this finish here is one where we've gone over it, when we've done it all, we've gone over it with an open trowel and you're dragging grit, and that in effect is the key, in our opinion, rather than this great sort of matrix. I don't know, and this is only a theory of mine, but if it's a problem that you leave mortar joints open and fill those with plaster, if you've got these deep keys that you get on a base coat, isn't that the same thing? Really, you've got differential carbonation in those troughs. So anyway, that's just me. That's nothing, but that's just us trying to follow what they do. In recent years, obviously, we've had a lot of Poles and people coming over from Eastern Europe, where these traditions are much more constant, if you like. And I've talked to plasterers around here, and certainly the Polish plasterers don't key between coats either. So they do this, they rough it, and that's it.
Would you say it's possibly pressed on green, which is okay without a mechanical key?
Yeah.
But if you wanted to completely dry out and shrink and be completely dry, then maybe you do need a mechanical key.
Maybe, no, that might...
More than if it was on green.
I don't know, I mean these are all different, this is just what we do anyway, put it that way. And but what you don't want to do, as I say, is play with it. So if I kept playing with this, and all I'm doing in doing that, as you can see, it's getting whiter and whiter, because I'm just pulling lime to the front. So I'm robbing lime from the back and I'm pulling it to the front. And we've worked on places, I mean, where the estate that I've worked a lot for have had people who are not really experienced, but oh yeah, we can do that. And they've come in and I've gone in and seen the walls and they look beautiful, really tight and hard and